Hello, Stephen White from SteveArts89. Yes, somehow I missed this. I'm a huge Dark Crystal fan, always have been ever since I was a kid. I grew up watching, well, I saw, unfortunately didn't see the film in the cinema until I was an adult because I was too young to see it when it came out, unfortunately. I saw it on video and Foxtel, which, if you don't live in Australia, that's where we get our Disney stuff, because it's all part of the Muppets and the Jim Henson stuff that was sold to Disney. And my main memory of it really is looking at the storybook in the library when I was a kid, because I used to get that out all the time, or just go and look at it all the time, because the artwork looked just like the art in the movies and looked just like the art of Brian Ferren, and to me anyway, I used to watch that all the time. So I had heard over the years that they were doing a sequel, and I'd heard people talking about them or their friends being involved in the production, that it was actually happening in Australia at Fox Studios or something. And I was like, wow. And then I kept hearing these stories, and they didn't really seem to pan out to be true. So I just stopped listening. I started to think that it was just myth, and that it was as mythical as the Dark Crystal itself. And then I found out the other day, when there was I saw a video about 4 images released from Netflix from the new series. I'm like, oh wow, this is actually happening. I had heard things and just dismissed them as more rumors and gossip, and didn't realize Netflix was actually producing a series and had actually announced it and actually done a teaser and actually gone into production. So it was announced in 2017. It started filming in, I think, November 2017, and it's supposed to be released this year. So I'm very excited. I really had no idea, and I'm kind of glad, because if I'd found out in 2017 and had to wait all this time with this little information coming out, it would have been really stressful. Whereas now it's like, oh, I'm finding out now, right a few months before it's going to be released, that's coming out, and just as they start to release information, I'm finding out about it. So I'm kind of glad I didn't know it was happening. So I went online, I had a look at those pictures, and I found the trailer, which I didn't know had been released. Now the trailer is mostly just talking about the production and old footage of the production, but it does appear to have one image of a new Skeksis with his sexy little Borg eye implant, which is creepy as fuck, and they are creepy as fuck and always were. They scared me when I was a kid. They still kind of scare me, actually. They're just so hideous. So that's him. And apparently it's a 10-episode prequel series, and there are 3 new Gelflings, Ryan, Bria, and Deet. And forgive my low-tech approach at the moment, but I just don't have time to do a proper video, so I just put the pictures on my computer on the screen and just put them up. I know they look like crap, but you can look at the real ones online. I'm sure you already have if you're looking at this. Basically, they discover the evil Skeksis are up to something nasty, and they go out and form a resistance against it all. So, although they apparently don't succeed because the Dark Crystal happens, but it will be interesting to see what happens. Now, there's been some comics and books released about the Dark Crystal. I bought a few of them, along with my snazzy little Dark Crystal lunchbox, which I've actually carried around, which I love. I don't have a lot of merchandise on them, but I'm trying to get more. I've got the original comic adaptation, the original storybook that I used to read, not the actual one. I found a better one, thank God, that was actually in perfect condition, like brand new. And I've got a little bit of merchandise, but I'm going to collect more, and I'm actually going to have to sit down now and read these stories and work out, are they part of the new series? Are they before it, inspired by it, reference material for it, or just their own independent thing? I'm really not sure. So we've got this 3 new characters, and of course we've got images of the evil ass Skeksis looking creepy as usual. And we've got a character called the Librarian, and I think that's Deet and a little friend, and it all looks very much like the originals, and they are using practical puppetry, and they're very adamant they're not using CGI because that's a bad word, but they are using green screen and digital technology to actually remove the puppeteers and the strings and stuff. So they are actually using computers, but they just don't want to say it because it won't affect the look. It won't make it any less authentic and look any less like the original movies, but they just don't want that association. So it's going to look good, because they've done that with the Muppets and Sesame Street, and it really allows them to do a lot more and make it far more believable without actually making it look like just a CGI cartoon. So I'm happy to hear about that. And now we've got the last image I found, which is just some more Skeksis and the Dark Crystal, of course. So I can't wait. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really glad they seem to be taking the right approach, which is to be faithful to the original and to not. I doubt they're going to try and subvert anybody's expectations on this. It's not going to be like Star Trek. It's not going to end like Game of Thrones. I have some faith in this, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm going to follow it, and I'm going to let you guys know whatever I find out. And please feel free to let me know anything you hear if you see it, because I'm going to keep talking about it because I love talking about this stuff. Even if no one's listening, I don't give a fuck. I just like talking. So, but yes, please, if you know anything about the series, because I couldn't find much online about it, a little bit on Wikipedia and a few other little articles, mostly just talking about the pictures Netflix released or speculating the exact date and pointing out that it's coming out soon. So that's all I know. But I'm very excited. I look forward to having a reason to buy more merchandise and research the current stories and work out what chronology they fit into and reading them around the series. And yes, it's all alive again for me now. And this is great because I really loved this when I was a kid. Because I didn't see it in the cinema because I was too young, and I didn't have it on video when I was a kid. I saw it on video I saw it in the cinema as an adult at the Astor Theatre in Melbourne, which shows a lot of old films, and I saw it on Foxtel, which in Australia is where we get our Disney, or did. I'm not sure what's happening now. Oh yeah, Foxtel will still be through there. Yeah, Fox, 20th Century Fox, of course, dumbass. Yep. So I sort of saw it for that, and I grew up mostly, my experience of it was looking at the storybook and just imagining, and I'm really glad it really lived in my imagination, and the world of the Dark Crystal lived in my imagination, and I really got to live with it and experience it on that way. And I'm kind of, part of me is jealous of kids now of how much access they have to their TV shows and movies and information and that, because they have so, I used to just, if I found a single book or picture or something from something like Dark Crystal or Star Trek that I loved when I was a little kid, it was really, you clung onto it because you didn't have a lot. I didn't have a lot available to me. I lived in a small town. We had a little news agency and they had very little come in. The library wasn't very extensive. The school library wasn't very extensive either. So I kind of envy kids a little bit now, but at the same time, I'm glad I didn't have too much because I had to use my imagination. And I did spend a lot of time putting myself in these worlds just in my imagination and not just sitting there watching it and having all the episodes and all the images and all the books just all available, online. So I'm kind of glad that I got to experience the way I did, and I'm glad it's coming back, and I'm going to watch it again, and I'm going to enjoy it again, and I'm looking forward to that, and I'll talk about it. And if anyone has any information, please feel free to tell me in the comments because I want to know everything about it. Okay, thanks for watching, and yes, let's look forward to this. Thanks, bye.